So, what do you do when you're in that situation? Well, I started teaching and speaking. I had to go outside my market to sell real estate. And in 2017, my wife encouraged me to put my real estate school online. I had been teaching real estate courses and had a school since 1987. I was burned out on teaching pre-licensed real estate, and I kept telling my wife, no, I don't want to do that. I've taught pre-licensed real estate. But anyway, she encouraged me to do that. I did. I fell in love with pre-licensed real estate school again. So I started my school, and naturally, like everybody, I wanted to make some money. I wanted to, I knew a lot of people, but I thought maybe there's this thing called Google, and I was familiar with PPC, which is pay per click, which means you only pay if someone clicks on your ad. So I set up a Google campaign, which I don't know why they make it so challenging and difficult. And again, you can have me look at your computer. I can fix just about anything. I'm a computer guy. I like it. But that kind of stuff really gets out of my league. So I set out to do PPC ads, and let me tell you what, it's the lottery, baby. I'm gonna win, right? Okay? Because I'm thinking I'll put my ads online. People will just flock to my store. I'll hear the cash register going off left and right. And what I discovered after doing a lot of research and reading is that you can win a lot if you figure Google out, and you can lose a lot. In fact, you can throw money down the toilet if you don't know what you're doing. And I really was making nothing. And then I thought to myself, John, you don't even have an online marketing strategy. Now think about that. Here I am, a tech guy. I have no online marketing strategy, none whatsoever, but I'm sending people really to nowhere. And unfortunately, a lot of schools and real estate brokers and real estate agents have a website, and they're sending people to nowhere. Now, what do I mean by that? And we're going to talk about this today, is that I started thinking about my website, and I thought, I'm paying money for people to click on an ad, to come to my website, hang around for a little bit, leave, and I never even got their name and phone number or email address. Now, I grew up in the real estate era when somebody came into the office, you got their name and phone number, you found out what they were looking for. I mean, you really went through all of that. So I had no marketing strategy at all. Now, I taught with a friend of mine called Corky Hyatt, and Corky could do this real Southern style, but we taught GRI together, and she would say, I don't care how long and how far you've been going the wrong way, turn around. I can't do it quite like Corky. And I said to myself, I got to turn around and do something else. And I knew it's never too late to start over. I didn't want to get in the online real estate field, and my comment to my wife was, there's too many people already offering schools. And yet I'm now offering my classes in 10 states. And I don't say that to brag, but just to say it's never too late. And I just really got started a few years ago. So I started reading this book, and by the way, he's very good, and I can understand him. His name's James McDonald on Google Ads. We're not going to talk about that, but he's helped me a lot. And then I read this book and listened to it called .com Secrets by Russell Brunson. Many of you may already know about that. He has ClickFunnels. But Russell's got some really interesting things to say about building a sales funnel. I even bought a $1,997 course from Jeff Walker, who teaches people about online marketing. Now, I bought this course for two two reasons. I wanted to learn more about sales funnels. I also wanted to see, what does a $1,997 course look like? And by the way, this guy has launched products and made $1 million in an hour. He makes 10, 20, $30 million a year. He hangs out with the Virgin guy. What's his name? Russell or Richard Branson. Yeah. I want to tell you this, and I'm not degrading Jeff Walker. I learned a lot of stuff. Every one of us in this room could create a $1,997 course and be just as proud. Basically, all Jeff does, most of it, is using Camtasia and PowerPoint slides and an audio. And I'm thinking, gosh, I'm doing video and I'm doing all this interactive stuff. And I learned a lot from the course, don't get me wrong. But I want you to know, any of you in this room can create a $2,000 course. I was talking to a lady yesterday and she was telling me, she goes, I have to wait 2 years to get a $100,000 commission check because she's in a certain type of real estate. And she's got an idea for a course. And I said, you can market it for $19.97 and all you have to sell is 50 of them. I have a $19.97 course on my website. People are buying from me now. It's all online. It's all stuff I know. You all know the same stuff I know, and you can probably deliver it in a way somebody else may like it. But as I got into sales funnels, I started realizing there are people out there that want some work. So I knew I needed an internet marketing strategy, and this was my goal right here. If they come to my website, whatever I'm doing, whether it's social media, you've got to think in the process that I'd love to be able to capture their name and email address or phone number or whatever, and I'd like to start building a friendship with them or a relationship with them. And I'd like to start communicating with them in a way to where eventually they'll buy something from me and eventually they'll be a long-term client. And when I say we've all got these courses, that was my next wake-up call after I built my funnel was, people are coming to my school. They need more stuff. And let me tell you what, statistics say if someone buys an online course from you one time, it's so much easier to sell them something else. I have people in Missouri, and I love them dearly, and I could give you their names. Whenever I send an email out selling something, they always buy it. Like I'm a raving, I guess they're a raving fan, right? But they like what I do, and there's one little lady in Springfield, I could tell you her name, she buys everything. My wife is selling slip-on over-the-collar dog scarves now. I'm not trying to sell anything here, but I did a social media post, and this lady bought one of my wife's scarves. She buy whatever I post, she'll buy. So this was my goal, and this is what I want you to think about. I told you I want to have a conversation, I want to answer questions, but I want you to start thinking that my website needs to be a way to get some information from people. And it's so easy to do, so that's what I want to share with you. So I'm going to ask you what's your online marketing strategy. You don't have to give me an answer, I want you to think, but I want to do a real quick exercise. And I want you to close your eyes, okay? So close your eyes for me. And I want you to take a trip to your website. I know I always hate it when they tell me to close my eyes. So I want you to go to your website, and I just want you to start looking around. You know what's on your website. Just start looking around at your website. Go to whatever page you want. Maybe look at your pictures of your products. And if you want to go to your About Me page, that's the #1 page people go to. We should have a video there. We should have good stuff. So you're out there at your page, you're looking around. Do you see your really neat page? And now you can open your eyes. That's about how long people are on our website on average. Around 40 seconds. And then they're gone. And that's what I was doing. I thought, John, they're only on your website for just a little bit, and then they're gone. So if you don't have something that makes them stop and look, you need an attention grabber, and it's got to be something that just makes you stop and say, wow, I'd like to have that. We've got to make them stop and then give us some information. And what I like to say is we really need to give them a gift. How many pre-licensed real estate school students or owners do we have in here? Like, how many of the visitors who are thinking about getting their real estate license and they're on your course because you're a real estate school, and you said, download my 20 best real estate exam questions you'll probably see on the test, okay? That's a gift. Now, I was sharing with the school owners today, so I'm going through this whole thing and I'm like, what do I do? What gift can I do? What should I provide? So I wrote a little ebook called How to Pass the Real Estate Exam on the First Attempt and Generate Income in Your First 90 Days. Because I figured, what's the two biggest things I hear from my students? I won't be able to pass the test, and how can I make money? I wrote this little book. It's more of a tips book, and you know what's funny? It's all the stuff I talked about when I'm standing in front of my students for those 2 or 3 weeks. You need to make flashcards. You need to study every day. What do we tell them about? I don't have a broker and I need to, what do we always tell them? Go talk to 2 or 3 brokers. That's in the book. Don't just interview one broker, because so many agents over my tenure have gone to work for a broker and then quit because they just hated the office. They were a bunch of bullies or whatever. And I tell them in the book, visit a couple of books. So that's my free offer. I'll show you that in just a little bit. So the goal here is, how do we build some type of a sales funnel with a really, Russell Brunson says, and my good friend and part of my mastermind group, Teresa Barnaby's in the back, and Teresa, he talks about a MIFKI, right? Which is the most incredible gift ever. Now, he's doing that with selling products, but what could be the most incredible gift you could give to somebody coming to your website? Oh, and by the way, my little free PDF, How to Generate that I wrote, which is a tips book, is all it is. Little short paragraphs. It's not even probably 18 pages. I sell that for $9.95 on Amazon, self-publishing with a glossy cover. And I got in my sound booth, because I have a sound booth at home, and recorded the audio, so it's on Audible as well. I get royalty checks every month for those 2 products. This last month, I got $30 for my book and $40 for my Audible. It's free on my website, but I just stuck it on Amazon and people are still buying it. They want to know about it. So what could you do to be creative? And this is the goal. We want to try to generate leads into our funnel so that we can have a conversation with them, is really what you want to do, and then convert them to buy a class, okay? My conversion rate is about 16.7% of the people, and I'm not going to bore you with all the math, but Jeff Walker taught me how to do this. When I run the numbers of how much money I've made out of the people who download the book, every time someone downloads my book, it's $55. That's what that email generates me. So there's money in building your email list. And mine's $55, a conversion rate of around 17%. So lead generation, I want us to think about that. How do we get more leads? And by the way, once they get into my funnel, and this is where I need help and have to do, is I need to take those existing clients and dump them into a whole new funnel. How can I help you grow your real estate career? Whether it's through online coaching, whether it's through, and see, then those people, they dump them into another funnel for, I need to be having funnels that, and I do have some, reminding them of continuing education, reminding them that, hey, you've had a license for 2 years now, you can get a broker's license in Missouri. See, there's all this money sitting in our database because we're not using the right funnels. So to do this, you have to have what's called a lead magnet, okay? The lead magnet is that thing, and maybe some of you have one on your website that you looked at, but that's the thing that you have on your website that people want and need. This gentleman here, and your first name is?
Buddy.
Buddy, I knew that. Buddy was telling me he's getting all these calls with all these questions about getting your license and so forth. So Buddy created a sales funnel to answer those questions. Now people see it on the website, they download it, and Buddy's captured their name and email address. Okay, so just think in terms of a lead magnet. And here's what I want you to understand. It goes so much deeper than this. Rob, who was here, and he just left a minute ago, you really have to get in the consumer's mind. Who is your dream customer? We talked about this, Curtis, right? And you brought it up, and that's exactly why I sold my real estate office in 2006. I recruited the wrong people. I had people on the bus with me, and it's like, I don't even like hanging out with these people. Why are they on my bus? And they just sucked every ounce of energy out of my livelihood. And instead of just recruiting correctly, I would probably still be going with my 3 offices. Instead, it was like, I woke up and I felt like, was Frankenstein's doctor named Dr. Frankenstein? I felt like the doctor, and I thought, I've created a monster and I don't know how to get rid of it. And so, what I want you to understand, and when I have this slide up there, is it gets much deeper. We need to. My friend Dan Adler in our mastermind group said, it's okay if you make the offer to where it's repulsive to some people, because those are the people you don't want in your course anyway, right? Dan Sullivan says, do certain things to weed those people out. Work with the people you want to work with. You know what was so cool about creating a $1,997 online coaching program that I use with people periodically? Now, I had been selling that for $97, and Teresa will tell you, one day I just decided to say, there's a lot of stuff there. I'm going to put that at $1,997, and people started buying it. They're great to coach. They want to learn. Like, I can talk to them, and they are sponges. The $97 people wouldn't even show up for my Zoom calls. So it's like, hello, if I only sell 5 1997 people, I'd sure rather work with them than 75 people who really don't care about being in the course. And so there's some things to this, but you really need to think about, who do I want to work with? Who's my customer? Teresa has she's got a couple of really cool, she's got a great ladies program for women who are really at that age And I can't describe your lady except to say she's really been pushed aside her whole life, and now she's 50 or 40, and she's like, I want something for my life. And Teresa does a whole coaching program on that, and it's all online, but Teresa can give you verbatim everything about, is it Linda? Yeah. She could give you every detail about her. That's what you've got to do. So please understand, I'm giving you a high overview, but I want you to dive in and look at who is my person. Curtis, I know yours are VA people. You know what's in their mindset and what's going on, and that's the kind of stuff you need to tie into your lead magnet, okay? So the idea is we want to hook them with a lead magnet, get their name and their email, and you might have various hooks. I've got 4 or 5 hooks out there, and one hook's actually starting to pick up a lot of traction. So here's some headings that I just threw up there. You know, normally what you see is how to lose 20 pounds in 30 days or before Christmas, you know, and it's like, okay, I'm all in, you know, give me that. How about this one here? How to pay off your mortgage in less than 3 years. Who wouldn't want to know that? And this one, I always get snookered into these, you know, what's this 80s rock star look like today? Those are just titles to get you to go over to a website. And then they'll have something else there to get your name and email address. Or this one, which I know, you know, you might have to tailor a little bit, but I ran a Google ad, and I do have this. It blew up so crazy, it was off the chart, but it was free recently seen exam questions. And they're just 30 different questions. I don't know if they're verbatim, and I tell people that full disclaimer up front, but I'm saying these are the topics from what they knew, and let's go through them. And I don't even know what the right answer is. I'm telling them they could flip these, but I want you to look for key things, and then I'm teaching the topics out of that generic. So it's not like I'm saying be sure and answer B. I'm just saying it was a topic about an antebellum mansion. You probably heard that one too, haven't you? Know? And so we don't know how the question's worded, but that thing was crazy. Like it blew up my Google budget every day, and so I turned it off just because I'm going to retweak it. So what do your customers need, and what do they need? So I have a little exercise, and actually I'm going to put this up, and I want you on your phones to answer that if you want to. What do you think your customers want? And let's take a look at some of those, okay? Is it working okay for everyone? And I was a little worried when I saw the size of the screen. Okay, it worked good. So if you'll, let's see, I got to start the. Hopefully it'll work. It's technology, so and that's okay if you have to get up and walk around, because it's good to move around rather than sit there the whole time, right? So I hope we will get some. I'm trying to put my GSI skills in place and be interactive. By the way, the candy I handed out, I wanted you to pick one out of there that you would like to have. That the exercise is on lead magnets. Everybody's different. You know, some people are going to want a video to watch. Some people would rather read a white paper. Some people would rather attend a webinar. So good, it's working. So what steps to get a license and apply? Absolutely. Cheap, easy, fast. Now, great comment. I don't know who did that, but one of the things that James McDonald says in the Google book is that you do want to create negative keywords. In other words, if they don't want to spend money, do you want to spend money on Google trying to attract them? Does that make sense? So you could be having people come to your website like I was, and they may be giving you their name and email address, but they don't have any money. So do you want to attract that type of client? I'm not saying that's wrong. There are people looking for that. And like Jennifer nicely told us today, she has a payment plan. And her attorney drew it up, and she said, I've not had one person finish paying me off because they can't take her they can't get out of the school with the certificate till they pay off. But just a great, I love cheap, easy, fast, and that is hugely searched. I just want you to understand you might have to spend some money. The answers to the licensing exam, real estate course information, how to get a Maryland real estate license, that's huge. That's in my type of search words. And exceptional customer service. How do I get an Oklahoma real estate license? A way to conveniently get qualified for CE education. Very good. Thank you for all of those. And Steve, and I'm all about sharing. If you give, you shall receive. I wasn't selling anything in Oklahoma. I started advertising the Oklahoma Brokers course. Like, I'm selling Oklahoma broker courses, not, crazy, but it's a hugely searched topic. The other one is where I make a lot of money now, and I'm just trying to give you ideas. People who just have to take the state portion, and I heard you say that out-of-state exam. Figuring out how to do that. Now, let me give you one tip for Google, and this is very important. When you set your keywords up, and I can help you with this. Anybody needs help, I'll be glad to visit with you. We can do a Zoom call. You want to put your words in brackets. Because if you put how to get my Oklahoma real estate license or how to get a Maryland real estate license, if someone's searching for real estate homes in Maryland, Google might throw you in the mix. Because see, Google's all about getting people to click. And we're all about what? Converting. And the little Google customer support reps call me and say, you should do this. And I'm like, no, I've read James McDonald's book. And James said, don't be suckered into all of that. So I tell them, all I'm concerned about is if someone's sitting at their computer saying, how do I get my Oklahoma real estate license? I want to be in the ad that pops up. That's all I'm concerned about. And they want to get me to do these network and all these different things. So you got to be real careful there, okay? So thank you for that. And you got to have a value proposition. So remember some of those. I'm going to get into some tools now to build a sales funnel, okay? So let's talk about some of these. I currently use this program, and by the way, I make no money off anything I'm showing you today, so please understand that. But I make no money off Keep, but I use Keep right now. It's my CRM, and there are other items out there. There's a ClickFunnels, which I believe Buddy uses. Teresa's used ClickFunnels, very good program. And then there's Active Campaign. And by the way, I'll let any of you have access to the PowerPoint if you want that, so don't worry about that. ConvertKit, there's a bunch of these that are out there. This one is Katara. I haven't used that, but this is a new one that Teresa's looking at very heavily. I think Rob, who's here, works with this, and the guy that's helped me with Keep for years has switched over to this. The thing about higher level is that it has your funnel builder, your landing page builder, you can text to people, you can have an online courses, you can have online communities for your students. It's all white labeled and branded. You can do different, it's like everything in one. Your CRM, and I believe it also has, it works with Shopify, who I use. So I am probably going to migrate over because right now I'm using like Keep and Lead Pages and I'm Zapier, and it gets a little crazy at some point. This is HubSpot, which the bigger online marketers use, like Amy Porterfield and some of those. And then Lead Pages is very, very good. I love their customer support. It's very easy to use to build a landing page. However, I think Go Higher Level has the same functionality and the same building. And then Zapier, and then EverWebinar, which I've been paying for. See, I'm paying for all these different pieces. And the thing about Higher Level is they brought it all into one. And I can do this in Higher Level as well. So what's an EverWebinar, John? It's basically, and by the way, when I went to get that screenshot, guess what popped up after about 6 seconds? A lead magnet. And then the other tool I use is Canva. I'm going to show you more about EverWebinar in just a little bit because I think you'll like it. Canva. Now, I'm getting ready to run YouTube advertising, and I don't want to mislead anyone. So I have this new little Pocket 3 camera here. It's an Osmo Pocket 3 camera. It's really cool, and it's got a built-in microphone. But I went out in my neighborhood, and I had this up, and I walked out on the street, and I said, because on YouTube, your commercials got to be catchy, quick, fast, because they're clicking off of it. And I just said, hey, would you like to earn up to $100,000 a year as a side hustle, just hanging out in your own neighborhood? You can, maybe even more. Come on, let me show you how. That's all the commercial is. When they click on that ad, they're going to my landing page where I tell them up front, and by the way, I put real estate school in there because I thought, I don't want just anybody clicking the ad. I want them to know up front it's real estate, because I reshot that I want to weed out those people I don't need. So in my basement, I've got a whiteboard. I set it up, and I walk through what I tell every agent. If you go and knock on doors, it's how I built my real estate business. There's an old saying, for every 30 new contacts you make, 10 will be warm and 1 will buy your list. It works. I mean, I was going to shoot it on Locust Street in Deloge because that's the street where I've made thousands of dollars. That's Locust Street, Deloge, and Elm. And I thought, I'm 64 years old. They might think I'm nutty standing out there with a video camera. So I did it in my own neighborhood. But the concept is you can do this if you get out and hustle and work hard. Now, you may have to go out after hours, and there might be some time. But then I created this little thumbnail for YouTube in Canva. Canva, how many of you use Canva? Okay, it's like my favorite friend now. So with Canva and ChatGPT, I created an ebook. Now you all just gave me some good titles from your place, and I said to ChatGPT, would you come up with reasons why a person, or what they need to do if they're going to go to real estate school and want to pass the exam from A to Z, starting that each first word starts with the letter A, B, I type. Anyway, ChatGPT gave me reasons from A to Z. I then took those and, of course, massaged them a little bit and made them me. And I went into Canva and I used Canva's book template. I literally can now take that book and sell it on Amazon if I want to. I haven't, but B says build a study schedule. You're probably wondering what Z is, right? Z is zero distractions on exam day. But I created that little book in probably less than an hour using ChatGPT and Canva. And my theme was to take a different kind of letter with a different, and so anyway, it was a lot of fun. This is an amazing tool, and it's free, and it is called Video Ask. You can pay for it, and you can see on my, I also, so it pops up in the front, excuse me, buddy. It pops up on this page. I do sales meetings. I like to create sales meetings. And basically, I'm just doing a sales pitch by video on my website. So you could do, I'm going to give Curtis an idea. You have Video Ask on your website. You could say, hey, I'm Curtis with such and such school. I'm retired military, and I want to help other military folks get their license, or whatever your passion is. And so now, if you're targeting military, and they're coming to your website, and they see that video, and they get to know who you are, man, you just locked them in for that. So some really cool things you can do there. And then, how many of you use Calendly? And by the way, I think that Higher Logic has Calendly built in, or a calendar thing built into it. I pay for Calendly. I have that in almost all my sales funnels and my letters. People set up appointments with me all the time because they want to ask some questions about real estate, and it's been a huge thing for me. Another program I use, I'm just talking about tools for you, is Flip PDF. Now, there are many programs out there. There's a Flip Snack, but Flip PDF actually allows you, this is my PDF book here. So it actually allows you to take a PDF document, upload it, and it actually will turn it into a digital book, and I can do all kinds of things inside the system, and then they can even share it on social media. Yes, Brenda.
Someone just told me the sweet Canva has the same thing.
Okay, great question, Brenda. Thank you for mentioning that. Brenda said that Canva has the same thing, and the answer is yes. I actually forgot about that. Since I own a version of Flip Builder and I'm very familiar with it, I use Flip Builder. But thank you, Brenda. Great observation. You can do that in Canva too, okay? So now, that's the PDF they get when they're on my website. And you know where I store most of my documents that I share? Amazon has a service called Amazon 3S. And it's like so inexpensive, it's crazy. And so all of my buckets, they call them buckets, and I have a real estate school, they're all out there. And then all you have to do is upload it there, and you find the .html file or the index file. And you get that link, and now I can play around with that link and put it inside my sales funnels and other places. So another thing, and I want you to stretch your minds a little bit. I use, of course, an LMS for my school. Litmus is who I use, and I like them. But then you have to have something to create the courses, right? And I use Articulate Storyline. And they have a program called Rise, which is kind of cool. Actually, one of my lead magnets I have created in Rise. And so this is what it looks like here. So when you go to Rise, this is the link. They open it up, and I just built My lead magnet goes to this. They can download the PDF right there. And now I've got some text, there's audio, there's video embedded. And it's just a short little thing talking about the sales conversion formula. But I've captured their email address and their contact information. And I'm going to show you that next phase. We're going to go under the hood. But I'm sure some of you have some favorite things that you use to market. So we have another little exercise here that I would love for you to share some of your tools. And if you use any of those that you really like, put those on there. So put those on there and we'll take a look at them. Because I'm telling you what, you come to these conferences, you all have so many great ideas that we can share with one another. Last year at this REEA conference, they were talking about in the school session, Google reviews. Now, I have that personality style that if somebody said, I just didn't get your presentation today, I'd be devastated for the rest of the week. No, it's not that bad. But you know, I'm one of those that's like, oh man, I hate to read the reviews. But I thought, we're living in a review world, and if I do a bad job, I got to change the recipe, right? So first of all, I didn't think I could have a Google review because I have an online school. So I went and put my thing up, and I've got almost, I don't know how many 5-star reviews, 50. And now I thought, I need to put that at the end of the course. And one of my students who just gave me a 5-star review said, you ought to be putting that in after every module to remind people and encourage them. And so here's some of the items. SendGrid for email marketing. Tell us about that. Is that just like a CRM? Yes. Cool. Thank you for sharing that. Excellent. By the way, if we're not taking care of our CRM, we're in trouble. Because let me tell you what the next big push will be. I've already read about it, and it's happening now. Keller Williams uses it. They know so much information about us. If you've got the right contact information and the address in your database, it will know what kind of stuff you need to send out to you. That's where AI is going. You won't even have to say, what should I send? It'll just go to you, right? So that's kind of where it's going. So thank you for sharing that. Mini chat, I love that. Google Business Profile, Sketch, wow, cool. Text messages, PREDIS AI, that's interesting. I haven't heard of that. So
it does like presentations.
Presentations.
Chat GPT that does like a presentation.
Oh, a Chat GPT that does like a presentation. Thank you for sharing that. So good. So think outside the box. My friend Richard Mendenhall, he and I were teaching, and I never will forget, he was talking about think outside the box. And then Richard said, although there's been a study that said people actually think better when they're inside a closed environment. And he said, maybe you need to think inside the box, get in a box, But we need to be thinking differently and asking what's next. That should be our real goal. So let's look under the hood. I want to make sure that I can answer any questions. Let me just walk you through my process. So here is my website. I use Shopify, and that's a little banner that comes up. I chose the banner only because I don't like pop-ups. They kind of get on my nerves. And so the banner's just there. So if you click on the banner, it's going to take you here. Now, I love to listen to podcasts, and Amy Porterfield, who has a wonderful podcast, and I listen to Dan Sullivan's podcast, Magnificent Marketing Podcast, which is a really cool podcast. But Amy had a gentleman on her podcast, and he's predicted like all the elections, and he's just into data and people. He said, here's where most businesses go wrong. They're trying to market about all their benefits and great things they have, when they need to really be marketing to what's going on inside their head. Or one of the gentleman's books that I have, he said, he's an old copyright editor, he said he always wrote copy for his ads about what are they talking about at the kitchen table, or what's going on, the conversation at the copy machine. And I love that, because that's really what we want. So on all of my stuff, I was saying, hey, I have video, live streaming, digital flashcards. I give audio feedback when you miss a question, and I'm like bragging up about all this stuff. And I said, you know what I need to do is just say, live the life you've always wanted. Because most of the people coming to my class, they want a better life. I've told this before. Do you know, now I'm an online school, and I have Shopify, so yes, my phone goes off like the cash register, just like on the commercials, and my wife has it too, and so they would both go off, and they still do. Monday morning between 9 and noon, I sell more classes. And I'm thinking, why is Monday so big? And I have no idea, but the only thing the good Lord has told me, the wisdom he put in my head about it is, I guess they've gone to work and they're like, I can't take this anymore. I really do. And so, write your copy to what you think that military person's struggling with. Or that person, my wife actually gave me a good idea, and it's been a huge blog for me, but my wife's that lady in her 50s who stayed home and raised our children and kind of didn't do anything else. And she said, you know what people are searching for? A side hustle. Now, I don't use that term because I'm a younger guy, but I'm using it now. And I actually wrote blog posts for my website about a Utah real estate license would be a great side hustle or a great side hustle. And I started writing those for SEO and things. So when you give me your name and email, this is where you'll come. And actually, I've changed it a little bit. That was just a thank you screen, but I thought, why make them go to another page? They go right to the book. And then they've gone into my funnel, so they're going to get a thank you card with me with the book. Now, this is just an overview of numbers, but over here in this time period, I'm going 71 people have purchased. This just means they went through the whole campaign, they never did purchase, but I still have a couple hundred people in the campaign as of this time. So these are all the letters they receive. Now, what do I write? Well, you can have ChatGPT help you, but in the first few letters, we're just dating, okay? So you know what one of those letters is? You'll never believe what Brenda said to me at my 5th-year class reunion. And I tell this story, which is a true story. I used to take my name badge off when I went in Walmart or the grocery store, because I got my license when I was 18. I didn't want anybody knowing I was in real estate. Like, that thing's hiding, And Brenda came up to me at the 5th-year class reunion, and she said, at least you have a career. And I looked at her, and she's like, yeah, you've got a career. I don't have a career. And I thought, is that what people think of me? Changed my whole outlook on real estate. And so I tell that story in one of my letters. You're not just getting a job, you're getting a career. I tell them how Brenda just knocked the wind out of me. So we've all got these stories in our life with customers we've helped, with people we've changed their lives. And I just went back into my mind and said, what are some stories I can tell? You know, I speak a lot and I love to tell stories, if you probably can tell. And when I do keynote presentations, Kelly Swanson, who's a storyteller, she was at our NSA meeting and they introduced her and she came out and started telling a story. She's a Southern lady about sitting on the porch and drinking lemonade and grandma and all this stuff. We were all just like, wow. She made a point and I said, Kelly, I talk about technology. I can't tell stories, you know. And she said, John, you got to tell a story. She said, they're only going to remember probably two things you say, what you open with and what you close with. She said, everything else is going to go away. But she said, you got to get their attention. Now, I'm speaking in San Diego at the NAR conference on technology. There must have been 800 people in the room, and they said, here's John Mayfield. And normally I always say, thanks for letting me be here. I'm really excited. And I walk out. Some of you probably heard me say this, and I said it was April 7th, 2007, when my life was literally turned upside down.